Hello and welcome to Sun City in South Africa. We're 2 hours north of Johannesburg, surrounded by the spectacular scenery of the Letsatsing National Park, home to rhino, elephant, zebra, lions, cheetahs, and a whole host of other animals capable of ripping a human being to pieces. Great. But they'd be wise not to pick on this bunch. 30 of the world's most powerful men have travelled to this holiday paradise to fight for the ultimate prize in strength athletics. It will be fast, it will be dramatic, and it will be loud. Stand by for one almighty battle as these men seek to become the world's strongest man 2010. So a feast of strongman action awaits. So without any further ado, it's time to say hello, Zoe Salmon, who's waiting at our first event.
Thank you, Martin. I'm down here at the medley, sat on one of these 125-kilogram anvils. That is the same weight as you, Martin. Our athletes have to lift not one but two of these. That's a combined weight of 250 kilograms and take them the whole way down the 20-metre course until they get to this, the enormous 450-kilogram tower. They've got to flip that the whole way back up the course until they get it over the line. The first person to do so is our winner. Simple. Now, keep your eyes peeled for the British veteran strongman Mark Felix. This is an event that he has struggled with in previous years. Another man to look out for is a man who is hotly tipped to win this year's title. It's young American Brian Shaw.
These are the rules for event number one. The time limit, 75 seconds. And first of all, the guys have got to carry a pair of anvils weighing nearly 20 stones each, 20 metres, then a massive tyre, flipped end over end. So the first guy that we're looking at here, Romanchuk of the Ukraine, big, gutsy man, 6 foot 2 inches tall. Stoyan Todachev of Bulgaria, a renowned strongman, absolutely massive. And Solvi Pedersen from Iceland, Iceland's strongest man, and that in itself is a real mantle of pride that he carries.
Ready?
Strong grip required. And the oxygen here is a little bit rare at 1,000 metres above sea level, but these guys getting away quickly. Todachev, the first to go over the line, Colin. He's looking good.
He's a real athlete, Todachev. He hasn't got the biggest, bulkiest body on the circuit, but he's incredibly quick. Now look at Stefan Solvi Pedersen. He's going slow and steady here, making sure he's got the right grip each time. You can slip on these rubber tyres, especially in these hot conditions.
Well, Todachev just struggling a wee bit here. Pedersen heading towards the line. It's about 6 or 7 flips to get this tyre over. 450 kilos, that's nearly 1,000 pounds of weight in that rubber tyre. Phenomenal performance by them all, but it's Pedersen who's just ahead.
This is going to be a very tight finish here. Pedersen, one more flip, he'll be over the line, and he's only just going to make it within the time limit, 1:15.
Oh, he's struggling now. The clock ticking away. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Just over 69 seconds. Absolutely exhausted, and that shows you the effect that the oxygen, or the lack of it here, has on everybody. These two guys really struggled. But Pedersen, number one at the moment. And back into his lungs to replenish the depleted oxygen. Doctors looking very carefully indeed. And Todachev, well, he flipped out, as it were. 6 flips. That will count for his score. Romanchuk, he got 5. You just get the feeling the Ukrainian is not going to score highly on this one.
Well, we see that Stefan Solvi managed to finish it, the only one who does, and he's fit and fast. The other 3 men must be watching this with some nerves now.
Ladies and gentlemen, in lane 1 from England, Mark Felix.
Heat number 2, Mark Felix. Comes from Blackburn in Lancashire.
In lane 2 from South Africa,
Etienne Schmidt of South Africa, an absolute mighty man here. His second World's Strongest Man appearance.
Ladies and gentlemen, in lane 3 from the USA,
and Brian Shaw. He will be a danger to everybody. Finished on the podium in 2009, finishing in 3rd place.
Take your grip.
So the Icelander, Pedersen, he set the standard. 69.18 seconds, away we go. And this is an event Colin, where Mark Felix in the past has struggled, but he's absolutely flying on the far side.
Oh, he's incredibly quick, Felix. He's well built for this kind of event, especially the farmer's walk. Brian Shaw a bit bulky there. The weights were knocking off his legs. But now Shaw, he weighs about half of this tyre. He's so huge himself, and that body weight helps him lean into the tyre and flip it over here. A monstrous big man, Shaw.
Well, Shaw is making this tyre look so light. Etienne Schmidt in second place, being roared on by this Sun City crowd. And Mark Felix, well, we thought he would struggle, and he's doing exactly that. But here comes Shaw. It's going to be quick. He's going to challenge for the lead, certainly. Well, an outstanding performance by the American. His time yet to be confirmed. But Brian Shaw, by our reckoning, just over 46 seconds. Schmidt is really struggling. Felix has given up the ghost. Well, Felix, we know, has had a bad bicep, but Brian Shaw, no doubt about the winner there. 46.53, outstanding. 5 flips for Etienne Schmidt, so he draws level with Romanchuk. Mark Felix there, bottom of the pile, unfortunately. He only managed 3 flips with the tyre.
Well, a big psychological climb now for Felix to get himself out of this one. Shaw, though, look at him. All powerful, not even out of breath at the end.
Congratulations, Brian. You are tipped. You're one of the favourites tipped to potentially win. Does that put any pressure on you?
I've heard that, and it's kind of, it's. I think there's pressure on everybody to perform, so it's kind of, it's one of those things I don't really think about. I'm just going and having fun, really. So we'll see what happens.
Now, you're from near Denver, so you're used to training at altitude. Has that come in handy for Sun City?
Being at elevation, I think with the training, I don't notice, like coming to South Africa here has been pretty easy. I mean, obviously I'm still breathing hard, so it's not that easy for me, but hopefully it'll come into play. Every advantage helps.
46.53 has really put down a marker for the American. Pedersen also impressive, but as predicted, Felix is struggling. Coming up, though, an event where the Englishman will hope to shine.
It's one of the head-to-toe most brutal things that we can do in strongman. To think about human beings being strapped to something so big and being able to overcome its mass with only the power in your body, just something that almost kind of boggles the mind.
Welcome back to the beautiful surroundings of Sun City, South Africa. It's Heat 1 of World's Strongest Man, where before the break, Englishman Mark Felix made a shaky start in the medley. Zoe Salmon has caught up with him at the next event.
Thank you, Martin. Time now for a classic World's Strongest Man event, and one man who faces the daunting task of dragging this 20-ton truck down the 20-metre course is Mark Felix. Hello, Mark. Now, this is your second event. How do you reckon the first one went?
Well, the first one haven't went well as expected, but I'm looking forward to this one. I need to get some points back here if I want to stand a good chance of winning the final.
Absolutely. So how do you reckon you'll get on with the truck pull?
Well, truck pull, I love truck pull. It's a good event for me, so I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going to do great here.
Good. Well, best of luck. Thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome.
Mark Felix certainly needs the points. There's the time limit once again, 75 seconds. The 20-ton truck has to be dragged over the course of 20 metres, and a massive weight with a real crowd favourite in Strongest Man. Well, there's Etienne Schmidt's effort, only 0.85 of a metre. Couldn't really get it going at all. Next up, Sergei Romanchuk of the Ukraine, just on a metre. Very poor performance, disappointing. Todochev, he went a little bit better, 64.35 seconds his total time.
Ladies and gentlemen, from England, Mark Felix.
So chance now for Mark Felix. And this is an event, I guess, where fitness as well as strength is going to count.
Ready?
Everybody thinking, how on earth can anybody move this truck? So Mark Felix with his climbing boots on, so important to get a good grip here, Colin.
Well, what we saw was there's a little hill at the start, and that's exactly what Felix is trying to overcome right now. Etienne Schmidt went down just under a metre, so he's got to dig in here, Felix. Not be nervous that the truck's coming slowly, but now it's over that little hill and it's coming at him.
Well, the crowd really getting behind Mark Felix. He needs the points. They've got to be big, big points. He will cross the line first, but it's the truck that's got to pass the line to stop the clock. He's going well. Just a little touch there on the ground. Only a few more meters to go for Mark Felix, but he really is going well.
I think his arms are totally exhausted. His grip's gone. The rope's not very tight.
Come on, Mark. Keep it going. There it goes. 49.44. That is exceptional for Mark Felix. Great performance. He's the leader.
And I think that was a very good pull for Felix. He might not look like a huge heavy man, but he is still well over 300 pounds, and that bulk was a big aid for him there, driving it all the way.
Well, Mark Felix takes on board a bit of oxygen to recover as quickly as he can before the next event, but what a cracking pull by Mark Felix of England. Next up will be Brian Shaw of the USA, third in last year's competition, in the final, of course. This year, he wants to go better.
This year, on one of the walls of my training room, I just wrote the words, "Be great." I think that kind of sums up what I want to do. My drive is greatness. My whole goal is to come in here and win this contest this year. Anything less than that is not good enough. I can say hands down this is the best that I've ever been. I'm the tallest and heaviest competitor this year. I think I'm also one of the most agile and athletic guys too. It's kind of a fine line you have to walk with being good at the loading events or the speed events, also mixed with being just, standing in one spot and being very strong. I've got a lot of positive comments saying, I could be the next guy to win either multiple titles or just win World's Strongest Man in general. I don't really let comments like that go to my head until I go out there and get a World's Strongest Man win under my belt. I haven't done anything. I'm going to keep working until I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the USA, Brian Shaw.
Well, the American certainly ready to go. A double victory. Of course, he won the first event. A second event in the bag, and that would do his prospects of going through the final easily.
Ready?
So good. So Brian Shaw is away, standing up a bit too tall there. You've got to get down, you've got to keep your back parallel to the ground to get maximum purchase. Again, he's wearing very stout shoes there. It's not a cracking start, but it's pretty solid, Colin.
Well, he's getting over that hill. No one's going to be that quick out of the start house. That initial inertia, a slight uphill section with 20 tons. It's a brutal start. But now look at this. Remember, he's 6'8", over 400 pounds. He's a true behemoth of a man, and that body weight counts here.
49.44 is Mark Felix's time to beat. And this is fast. Look at this. He's almost accelerating as that 20-ton truck rumbles over the line. This is very quick. 44.82. Absolutely superb. And that could be victory number 2.
Well, it's only Stefan Solvi Petersen that can stop this great start now. Look at this, driving away psychologically as well as physically. He's so strong this year.
Congratulations, Brian. You made that look ever so easy.
Well, I've always liked truck pulling. That was a good, tough pull. Hopefully the time will hold, but, it was fun. It's a good hard event.
It's not often you can say that it's fun, so good for you, and good luck with the rest.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Stefan Solvi Petersen, strongest man in Iceland at the moment, but as far as this competition is concerned, well, he's got 2 very big acts to follow. 2 of the all-time greats.
A lot of strong people come from Iceland. Iceland has 2 great champions, John Paul Sigmarsson and Magnus Ólafur Magnusson. I honestly believe the reason is the Viking gene. During the 1,000 years we've lived in Iceland, only the strongest people have survived because we live in really hard conditions. When I'm competing, I'm not thinking about the pain at all. But believe me, I feel it in the end of the day and when I wake up in the morning. I really enjoy lifting heavy stuff, and it just gives me peace. And maybe it's the Viking gene. I just have to do something crazy, To be competing here at the World's Strongest Man with all the strongest athletes in the world is just amazing. Meeting all the great idols, just sitting at breakfast and Bill Kastner sits next to you and starts asking you about training and stuff like that. It's great. I'm living the dream. My dream.
Well, he certainly has worked very hard in order to fulfill his dreams. And Stefan Solvi Petersen He really has to work hard here. The next minute or less could be absolute agony for him.
Are you ready, Steph?
And what a cracking time it was that Brian Shaw set, 44.82. He's just a little bit slower away than the American was, Colin.
Well, he doesn't quite have the bulk of the American, but he is wearing rock climbing shoes, which is absolutely the perfect shoe for this type of event. Gives you the most amount of friction off the ground, but even then it was slipping. It is a hard start, but now it's underway, now it's moving. He's past the 5 metre mark.
I tell you what, this is an event which I think is incredibly hard to train for, unless of course you've got the odd 20-ton truck knocking around in your backyard. But these guys have got to combine raw aggression with super strength. And this is certainly not going to be fast enough, but he's got to try and get in the top 3 to continually pile on the points on the rest. A couple of meters to go. It's going to be outside a minute, just 61.44 seconds. So he will finish in 3rd place. Good effort, but boy, is he suffering. That was hard.
With a time of 44.82.
So there's the winner, Brian Shaw, a phenomenal time. And maximum points once again.
It's an event for big men, and they don't come any bigger than Brian Shaw. The American is the preeminent puller in Heat 1, but Mark Felix can be very happy with sub 50 seconds. Shaw remains top with maximum points. Pedersen holds on to that 2nd qualifying spot, but Felix is moving in the right direction, 3 behind the Icelander. Time now to see if he can continue the charge in one of the toughest tests we'll see this year. Here's Zoe with all the details.
Thank you, Martin. I'm down here at this rather impressive-looking amphitheatre with legendary strongman Bill Kazmaier, a 3-time winner of the title. Kaz, tell us about this next event, the Power Stairs.
It's going to be an awesome event. 12 stairs, 225 kilos from the bottom to the top. Some of the stairs look a little bit different in height, but they're all about a half a meter. Once the implement's set on the step, it's got to be moved another meter before they go again, which will probably rip flesh off their hands, tear their shoulders and traps apart. Their legs are going to be fatigued. This is going to be so difficult. I'll be surprised if all the guys make it to the top.
225 kilograms, that is about the same weight as a fully loaded fridge freezer. Good luck to our athletes.
It certainly would be a very big fridge freezer. 75 seconds the time limit, and if Bill Kazmaier thinks it's hard, it will be.
In lane 1, from Bulgaria, Stoyan Todorchev.
Well, Todorchev is renowned for being a great carrier of just about anything. Very fit indeed. He's going to need every ounce of fitness. Brian Shaw, he's yet to lose an event. And this arena has been the scene of some brilliant events in the past.
Ready?
So here we go. And it's Brian Shaw who gets away the quickest.
Well, historians might remember World's Strongest Man in 2000 here, but they were done on the other steps, the other side of the amphitheatre, half the height. This is a much more brutal event. Brian Shaw being so tall, it is a help. Ooh, little wobble there from Shaw. He's trying to swing him up in one movement.
And that's a massive weight to swing anywhere, 500 pounds or thereabouts. And the American is well ahead at this stage. Just struggled with that step a little bit. Coming up now towards 40 seconds. If he can get it up now, it's going to be a cracking time to beat. There you go. Wow, that was superb by Brian Shaw. 41.58 we've been given. And Todorchev, I'm surprised. I thought he might stay with the American, but he just struggled over the last 3 or 4 steps.
That's no joke.
Well, you heard it from the leader. Todorchev there, 50.97, but he did complete the course.
Well, look at Shaw. It was right about the 7th step there that he just started to make his move. Certainly his height helped and his fitness. He's used to altitude, and it definitely counted.
There's the score so far. Brian Shaw, Todorchev and Romanchuk all completing the course. But Eddie N. Smith, the only man living up to Bill Kazmaier's prediction.
From England, Mark Felix.
Now, Mark Felix really needs a good performance here. He's losing touch with the leaders.
In
he's
lane
got any
two,
hope of
Prime
going through to the
Iceman,
final, it's got to be
Stefan
now.
Petersen.
Solveig Pedersen in second place after the first two events, in good shape.
Okay, take your grip. Ready?
This really is a lung-busting event, and Felix away quickly. It's a real sprint out of the blocks for Mark Felix.
Well, Felix trying to do this in two movements, which might be sensible. Look at this, he's going out of his lane. He's going to get told to move it back in a minute, and that's wasting energy.
And this really is a case of the tortoise and the hare. Pedersen catching Felix up, and Felix, well, he's almost come to a dead stop here. Talk about oxygen depletion, my goodness.
Well, they're now almost even here. You're right, Paul. The Icelander is just steadily going at this. Felix has ground to a complete halt here.
Poor old Mark Felix. I think any chances of going through to the final now have gone. But Pedersen is going to get it over in just over 50 seconds. Yeah, I think he liked that. Poor old Mark Felix, absolutely stationary.
Iceland is here!
Iceland is here. Icelander here once more. Mark Felix totally gutted. But he has got his strongest event to come in the next event. Great performance by Pedersen. Superb. Well, 51.13, not as fast as Shaw.
What a shame for Mark Felix. He was going well, and then he just went off course. Just lost his concentration. As for Pedersen, what a finish from the Icelander.
And you can tell by the expression on Mark Felix's face that he's got a mountain to climb now.
Misery for the Englishman Mark Felix, just 8 steps after a promising start. There's no doubt who's in charge of this group, though. Look at Brian Shaw, 41.58. The American is still sitting pretty with a 100% record, but Felix is in all sorts of trouble down in 5th and 6 points away from the qualifying places. All eyes, though, are on Brian Shaw. He may be viewed by some as the Colorado Colossus, but even Brian Shaw would have to admit he'd need to give ground to these guys. Still, the American is making very light work of a very heavy payload. Join us after the break to see if Mark Felix can challenge Heat 1's dominant male. Coming up is an event in which the Englishman is simply unbeatable. Welcome back to Sun City in South Africa as we continue with Heat 1 of World's Strongest Man, and where Zoe Salmon has caught up with one of the locals, a man who's been putting in some hard work in the African sun.
Thank you, Martin. I'm down here at the deadlift, one of the most brutal events in World's Strongest Man. The basket contains 345 kilograms of rocks. That's one of the heaviest in the history of the event. One man who's got the very difficult task of lifting it off the ground as many times as possible is Etienne Smit. Hello, Etienne. How difficult is this going to be?
Zoe, it will be difficult, that's for sure. As you said, it's most probably the heaviest deadlift in World's Strongest Man history. So, yeah, that would be gruesome. It will be gruesome, definitely.
Now, we are, of course, in South Africa, your home country. How nice is it for the event to be hosted here?
Yeah, welcome in South Africa. I think for South Africans it's very nice having it here. The people enjoy strongman, and they've come from all over the country to come and support World's Strongest Man, and it's awesome. It's awesome having you guys here.
OK, this is going to be a tough test for all our athletes, so let's see how they get on.
The rules are very simple. 75 seconds to complete as many lifts as possible with the heaviest weight ever attempted in a heat of World's Strongest Man. And that's the situation so far. Todorchev, he managed 3 reps, Poor old Sergei Romanchuk of the Ukraine, he got 0.
From Iceland, Stefan Solvi Petersen.
So a chance now for the Icelander, who's in very good shape at the moment, with just 2 events to go, to try and make an appearance in World's Strongest Man final. This, Colin, should be very interesting indeed. He's on a bit of a high at the moment.
Well, if you want to win World's Strongest Man, you have to be able to pull some big deadlifts. There's a lot of gym aficionados out there who really love this event every year. They appreciate 345 kilos. You can see the rocks in the back there. This is extremely heavy. Now, he's got to dig in here. 3 reps in.
Well, he's trying to draw level with Todorchev and move ahead of him, which he's done. He's got 4. But how many more can he get? I think he's saying that is it. An early exit for Pedersen, but he is in the lead.
Well, did you see there? He was just looking at his hand. I wonder whether he's torn a bit of skin on his hand. He's got the straps, which do help hold on to the bar, but the strain is colossal.
A chance now for the local favourite. This guy, well, he's going to be cheered all the way in what is his favourite event. He's a massive deadlifter in the gym, but this is different.
Oh, easy first lift. Now, does he have stamina?
He's looking good. This to draw level, equal first place, but I think he's got a lot more to come. Just take your time. 75 seconds, of course. Plenty of time to go.
Well, I don't think double figures is possible by anyone, but certainly not Schmidt. But 6 or 7 would be a big number to push those who still have to come.
He's got 6. Yes, he says he's got time to do 1 more. Is he going to go for it? No, he's not. Well, he's in the lead. Bit of a comedian at the end there. But that is your current leader. And the South African crowd love it.
Well, he dug in deep to get number 6. But once you let it go, you try and bend down again to pick it up. It just doesn't happen easily.
Well, it's been the perfect competition so far for Brian Shaw. 3 events, 3 wins. And I reckon he's still cruising. I wonder how many of those people have ever watched an event like this before. Now, they normally say that taller men have got a disadvantage in deadlifting, but I've seen this guy in the past, and he is just sensational.
Well, it helps when your arms of a 7-foot man as well. It would be bad if you're 6'8" and you had short arms, but he's not. So he's really not pulling it that far off the ground. Up it goes again, jacks it off his thighs. He's equaled 6.
And that is 7 just. In the lead. Yeah, he's had enough already. He could have gone on, I think. Just takes the mouth guard off. That just protects the teeth. There you go. 7 repetitions. And the American has done it once more.
Well, a touch of professionalism about that. He did exactly what he needed to do. And then stopped. He's already thinking about the finals.
Well, Mark Felix contemplating what might happen in the next few minutes, but this is his event, this is the deadlift, and he's absolutely wonderful at it.
I was a bit disappointed last year I didn't make the final. This year, I'm a bit more prepared. I've changed my training a bit, so I'm very prepared. I'm looking forward to it. The deadlift usually a great event for me. I mean, but everybody is just getting so strong now. People around me say I'm the best in the world with deadlifting, but you know, there's some great deadlifters out there, and then I respect them. I mean, we never compete in the same competition before, but I would like for that to happen someday. To be here with all the best guys in the world, that's amazing for me and for my family, you know. I mean, because of my age and everything, I'm just very happy to be here against all those younger guys. I would like to qualify for the final, and I would love to win it, you know. That's my aim every year. If you ain't come here to win, that means you're just cutting yourself short.
From England, Mark Felix.
Well, Mark Felix trying to put on a show here, but more importantly, trying to get maximum points. And with some of the events, you sometimes think, I wonder which Mark Felix is going to turn up today. But with deadlift, you're pretty much nailed on the fact that he's going to do well. And look at this. He's piling up the repetitions already.
Up and down, no problem for 5. This is very solid from Felix. He's only got 7 to beat.
Mark Felix draws level with Shaw. Yeah, he says, I've got him. He doesn't need to do any more. That was economy of effort, superb technique, and maximum points for England.
It would have been good to see him push there, but Brian Shaw knew what he had to do, and likewise, Felix, all he needed was 8. I think he could have done 10, maybe 11 if he was really forced into it. He needed that for the final if he's going to make it.
Mark, things maybe haven't been going quite as well for you in the grip, but how confident are you feeling about the final?
Well, I'm still feeling good about the final. There's still 2 more events to go. So, I'm looking forward to it. Anything could happen.
You did 8. How many do you reckon you could have done?
I reckon 12, 13. I haven't started pulling face yet, so it was okay.
Well, was there ever any doubt? Mark Felix looking very comfortable for those 8 reps. And for once in this qualifying heat, someone has outperformed Brian Shaw. That performance and Stefan Solvi Pedersen's poor showing means that Felix could be back in with a real chance here. He's now just 3 points outside the qualifying places. But nobody's catching Brian Shaw.
Well, the spectacular surroundings of Sun City are about to see something special. It's about as close as you can get to a weightlifting competition here in Monkey Square. 75 seconds, a massive weight of 155 kilos. And you've got to lock out your arms. That is what the judges will be watching closely. So here we go. Mark Felix, only 1 repetition. That was desperately disappointing for the Englishman. But Pirol Todochev, he got none.
Sergei Romanchuk.
So now a chance to see Romanchuk of the Ukraine in 6th place after 4 events so far in this heat.
And on my right,
and he's up against Brian Shaw. If he can win this one, even with 1 event to go, he automatically qualifies for the final.
Okay, ready?
I wonder if you fancy Brian Shaw's chances here. He's so tall. That's got to be a disadvantage, hasn't it?
Yeah, but look at the raw power there. He just ripped it straight up to his shoulders, overhead. Romanchuk struggling here.
Well, Brian Shaw adopting quite a bizarre technique there, but the lift in the end, very simple. What is the secret of this event, Colin?
To be incredibly strong. Have great grip strength, actually. It's a very thick bar, as you can see. Not as thick as a normal Coke can or something like that. So really, you have to be able to tear it off the ground, ideally straight to your shoulders. If you can't do that, it's onto the belly.
Well, Romanchuk there. He's gripping the bar, 1 arm over, 1 arm underneath, but Brian Shaw adopting a more normal technique for weightlifting. He just says, yeah, I've had enough. 4 repetitions against Romanchuk's 2. And both men are finished. Shaw, well, he's got the mouth guard out already. I asked him what that was all about once upon a time. He said it stops him biting through his bottom lip. And Romanchuk there, only 2 repetitions.
Well, Romanchuk using the European clean. When you put it to your stomach, use that as a shelf almost, and then flick it again to your shoulders. It's very costly and not very efficient. Shaw, though, no problem.
It's just another day, really, in the gym out here, isn't it?
Yeah, coming into the qualifiers, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, and you get started and go through it and everything. But to be honest, I really haven't had to work that hard to get through the qualifiers. And, I knew the main fight coming into this contest is going to be in the finals. So I feel great. I really, like I said, I saved a lot of energy here in the qualifiers. So in the finals, I'm going to be 100%. So I'm ready for it.
On my left.
The American certainly looks good. And how good is Etienne Smith going to be here? 5th place. It's going to be tough.
On my right, from Iceland.
Stefan Solvi Pedersen.
Solvi.
He's in good shape, isn't he? 2nd place, and a good performance here could almost guarantee him a place in the final.
Okay, take a grip. Ready?
So here we go. The contrast of styles, the contrast of techniques, but as you would tell everybody, I'm sure, Colin, what is required is raw power in the end, and Smit, the South African, is really struggling.
Well, he's just sort of thinking about it there for 10 seconds. He obviously doesn't have any confidence in this event. Stefan Solvay, though, 2 good reps already. Now he just has to take his time here. As for Etienne, now it's perhaps just the noonday sun here. It's really causing him problems.
That's awesome strength. You've got to be a real athlete to lift this weight. Now look at this. He's stiff in his approach, not flexible in his technique to adapt to this equipment. Solvay Pedersen, well, he has got smiles all round at the moment. That's good enough for second place in this event behind Brian Shaw. Good points for the Icelander once more. Unfortunately, Smit, he only finishes in 5th place.
Well, look at Smit. You're absolutely right, Paul. It's just stiffness. He's unable to get his arms underneath, while Stefan Solvay, flexible wrists, jerks it overhead with ease.
Just when we thought Mark Felix might be making a charge, the wheels have fallen off again. Brian Shaw wins his 4th event. Felix, on the other hand, has to make do with 4th place. The American confirms his spot in the final, and Pedersen looks odds-on to join him. But Felix is still alive here. Should he close that 5-point gap, he would qualify on countback. Join us after the break as the Icelandic powerhouse will come face-to-face with the lion's roar of the Englishman. Welcome back to World's Strongest Man from South Africa, where it's all come down to the loading race. Paul Dickinson and Colin Bryce have the details.
Well, here we go with the final event of Heat 1, the loading race, down in the Valley of Waves. This is going to be a real test for everybody. 75 seconds once again. As many barrels as possible for the maximum at 110 kilos each. A real test of endurance and strength. Well, first up were Brian Shaw and Todochev. And it looked as though Brian Shaw was just taking his time. Didn't really bother. He was through to the final already. Just 2 barrels. Todochev, on the other hand, set a good time. 72.29. He was the leader on 4 barrels.
In lane 1 from the Ukraine.
So here we go with Sergei Romanchuk of the Ukraine. Can't qualify for the final, unfortunately, so you want to finish off with a flourish.
In lane 2 from South Africa.
As will this man, Etienne Smit of South Africa. In front of his home crowd. There's pride at stake here. Just 1 or 2 little scores to settle. And the most amazing thing about this event, Colin, I think, is the fact that they're walking on sand. And that is going to make it even more difficult.
Well, you think how heavy these men are, and they're carrying these barrels. Their feet are getting buried with every single step. It's a brutal event to finish on.
I'll tell you what, doing this event is like playing a whole half, 40 minutes of rugby, in about a minute and a half, a minute and a quarter. Etienne Smit is really struggling here. His legs will be hurting, his arms will be hurting, and his hands will be hurting too. And this fella, Romanchuk, well, he's just got the upper hand at the moment, just 1 barrel to go.
Well, Smit once was a rugby player. He was a prop for the Bulls, but those fit days are perhaps gone. The lighter, fitter man here, Romanchuk, making work of this, but finishing it.
Nice performance by the Ukrainian. Just get it upright. Yeah, it's got to be tidy. There you go. Well done. Just inside a minute.
Well, Etienne, you're right. This is for pride. Let's hope he can do this. 5 seconds left.
He's going to struggle. Oh, my goodness. He couldn't quite hang on to it, so his score will only be 3 barrels. But there is a guy who's done well. 59.76 for Romanchuk. Etienne Smit there, just 3 barrels, 49.07.
Well, neither through to the final, but this was about pride. Both men digging in. All 4 for Romanchuk. Great effort. In his first World's Strongest Man, he'll be pleased with that.
In lane 1.
Well, a fascinating situation here in this final heat. Mark Felix there. He's got to win this event if he's got any chance of going through to the final. And he's up against his main rival for that second spot, Stefan Solvay Pedersen. He's got to finish in the top 5. He's got to beat Brian Shaw, in actual fact. get 3 barrels to make sure of his place. So it all comes down to this. That's the current situation. Brian Shaw has qualified, but that second place is still very much up for grabs. Mark Felix, the old man on the far side. On the left-hand side, an Icelander attempting to become the first Icelandic champion to make it through to the final in 11 years. I mean, that is a phenomenal statistic.
Well, it's hard to believe when you think how dominant Iceland was through the 80s and the 90s. And at the moment, he's behind Felix. Felix is giving it everything here. He's not going to go away without saying, I tried. Up goes number 2.
We've got to watch Pedersen, though. He's got 2 barrels up. That draws level with Brian Shaw. I actually think it's a slightly faster time than Shaw. If he gets the 3rd up, he's made it ahead of Mark Felix, and Mark Felix knows that.
Well, I think all the mathematical equations are over. He's up, he's got it on number 3. Pedersen goes through to the final. Felix will know that. That will be heartbreaking for him.
Well, look at this. Pedersen coming through. Mark Felix is absolutely shattered, I think mentally and physically as well. And amazingly, Pedersen is through to the final. Iceland are definitely back, that is for sure. Mark Felix delighted to be finished, as all of them are. Wow, what a finish.
Well, in the heat of the African sun, it wasn't to be Felix's day. It was, in fact, the Icelander. Cool as ice, and powered it home.
Mark Felix, 3rd place. Wow, he did give his best. He tried and tried.
And a big smile from the Icelander.
Solveig Pedersen through to the final.
11 years! Finally,
there you go. The first Icelander in 11 years. Fantastic.
It was a brave effort from Felix, but ultimately a step too far. Instead, it's Stefan Solveig Pedersen who reigns supreme in the loading race, and Sergei Romanchuk who claims 2nd spot. Shaw will definitely be a contender for the overall crown, but Mark Felix's campaign has ended in disappointment. But down on the sand, all the plaudits belong to Iceland.
Well done, Stefan. Now you are officially through to the final of World's Strongest Man 2010. How do you feel about that?
Just so delighted. It's unbelievable. So happy.
You look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it's good. I didn't feel comfortable because it's hard enough to carry 110 kilo kegs, but uphill and in sand it's so difficult. But I managed. But I do realize that the competition is just starting now, and I really have to step it up and compete with the big boys.
Well, as expected, the giant American Brian Shaw has made it through to his 2nd final. Congratulations also to Iceland's Stefan Solveig Pedersen, who's really impressed en route to his 1st final. Next up, it's Heat 2, where British fans will be hoping that big Terry Hollands can make a big impact. To see how the man from Kent gets on, join us next time. Until then, goodbye.
And tomorrow night, it's England's Terry Hollands who's the main draw as the World's Strongest Man finals continue in South Africa. How will he fare with the Africa Stone and the giant Farmer's Walk? Sheesh, I'm shattered already. Find out tomorrow at 8. After the break, Bad Santa. Bad Santa.